February 3rd, 1944. Anzio beachhead, Italy. A German counterattack tears through the American line. PFC Floyd Lindstrom had already done enough to earn the nation's highest honor. He had been offered a transfer away from the front. He said no. He stayed with his men. On this day, he did not come home. 64 years later, in a quiet town in Colorado, a man who had never heard his name picked up the phone. His name was Floyd Kenneth Lindstrom. Born June 21, 1912, in Holdrege, Nebraska. Raised in Colorado Springs, a Medal of Honor recipient. And for decades, almost no one in his own hometown knew it. This is Echoes of Valor X. Today we tell the true story of Floyd Lindstrom. Lindstrom's mother, Anna, brought him and his older sister to Colorado when he was a toddler. He never knew his father. The family settled at the Myron Stratton home, an institution for families facing hardship. There, Lindstrom became a Boy Scout. He earned his Eagle rank. He graduated from Cheyenne Mountain High School in 1931. For 11 years, he drove a truck for a local market, hauling produce between Colorado and California. Along the way, he met a young woman named Mary Jane Wackenhut. Her father worked at the same market. They became engaged. In 1942, Mary Jane died suddenly of a heart attack. Lindstrom was 30 years old. 5 months later, the day after his 30th birthday, he enlisted in the United States Army. Lindstrom trained as a machine gunner at Camp Roberts, California. By 1943, he was in North Africa with the 3rd Infantry Division. In Sicily that July, his convoy came under attack from enemy aircraft. A truck began rolling toward a soldier lying in the road, unaware. Lindstrom jumped onto the running board, under strafing fire, and steered it away. He earned the Silver Star. By November, his division had pushed into Italy. On the 11th, his platoon reached a hillside near Mignano. German forces held the high ground. Lindstrom's men were outnumbered 5-1. The hillside was barren rock. There was nowhere to hide. Lindstrom picked up his own heavy machine gun. He staggered 15 yards up the exposed slope, bullets striking the ground around him, and set up a new position just 10 yards from the German gun. Here's where it gets strange. He realized he could not hit the enemy gunners. They were shielded behind a large rock. So he drew his pistol and charged. He killed both German gunners at close range. He dragged their captured machine gun back down to his own men and put it into action against the enemy. Then he went back up the hill, twice, for ammunition, under continued rifle fire. His actions broke the German counterattack. He was 31 years old. Lindstrom's commanders nominated him for the Medal of Honor. The Army offered him a transfer away from combat. He turned it down and advanced with his unit to Anzio. On February 3rd, 1944, during a German counterattack on the beachhead, Floyd Lindstrom was killed in action. He was first listed as missing. His status was not changed to killed in action until June. On April 20th, 1944, the Medal of Honor was awarded posthumously. There was no ceremony for him to stand at, no moment to shrug off the praise, the way so many of these men did. He never knew. Lindstrom was buried first at Nettuno, Italy. 4 years later, in July 1948, his family brought him home, to Evergreen Cemetery in Colorado Springs, in the ground beside his own mother. For decades, his name faded from his hometown's memory. Then, in 2008, a man named Keith Lemay, who had grown up in Colorado Springs and never once heard of Floyd Lindstrom, received a phone call. A resident wanted to know why a Medal of Honor recipient, a graduate of his own high school, had nothing to honor him in the town where he was raised. Lemay started looking. What began as one phone call became 15 years of research. He searched military records, he searched the Find a Grave website, and that search connected him to a stranger in Italy who was already working to honor Lindstrom on the very hillside where he fought. Lemay found something else along the way. The grave of Mary Jane Wackenhut, the woman Lindstrom was set to marry. She is buried at Evergreen Cemetery too. Today, on Easter and on Memorial Day, Keith Lemay places flowers on her grave, on Floyd's behalf. He learned that decades earlier, Lindstrom's own mother had done the same thing, every year, for her son. In January 2023, at 63 years old, with replaced knees and a replaced shoulder, Lemay climbed the rocky slopes of Monte La Defensa in Italy, the hill Lindstrom once staggered up under fire. He said he wasn't about to let his body stop him. He wouldn't have traded the climb for anything. Floyd Lindstrom never had children of his own. For a long time, it seemed his story might end with him. It did not. America still stands because of men like this, and because of the ones who refuse to let them be forgotten.